granniopteryx, she knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, I want to bring your attention to two toweringly glaring examples. Can you be toweringly and glaring? Well, you get the picture. Two glaringly obvious examples of European hypocrisy, as well as a cultural idea that all the problems of Europe could be solved if only Israel would give way to the Palestinians, because that's the typical battered child thing. You find in families that there's one child who is the cause of all their problems, and that child is badly treated, and then the social workers take that child out of the family, and somehow, miraculously, one of the other children becomes the cause of all their problems. This is so, I don't know what the name for that particular phenomenon is, but it's definitely a well-known one. Well, here I'm going to show you two examples of a situation where you have governments or people in control focusing on Israel as one of their problems that as a problem that has to be solved. And when that's solved, we'll have paradise on earth. And then their hypocrisy is exposed for what it is, or rather their projection. I was somewhere halfway between. Some psychologist who might be watching this, maybe you can tell me, is this projection or hypocrisy, or some new word we need for both? Anyway, let's start with Ceuta, should we? This is what's going on in the Spanish territory of Ceuta, which is referred to in Wikipedia as a city in Spain. Let's just think about that, but meanwhile I want you to take a look at this. Now, The Guardian, being The Guardian, says an unknown number of people, and they say people, have swum and waded into Spanish enclave that neighbours Morocco. Okay, it's not quite that either. I mean, this is a miracle of obfuscation. They're not people, they are all young men of military age. There isn't a single woman or child among them. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it's not an unknown number. It's certainly thousands, and by most estimates, somewhere getting on for 50,000 young men. Okay, so that's that. And then it's the Spanish city of Ceuta. Right, let's just talk about the Spanish city of Ceuta. You see here in Wikipedia, it's called City in Spain. Where is it? It's here. That's Spain there. This is Ceuta. It is actually in Morocco. It is a colony of Spain in Morocco. Here we are, Ceuta, there. So it isn't anything, here you see Spain. No, it isn't. It's Morocco. It's a Spanish enclave there. It is, I think, the only colony in Africa which is controlled by a European power. All right, the French were supposed to have pulled out of their colonies in Africa years ago, but they kept control of their banks. So you may debate about whether they are still or are not French colonies. But that's typical, I'm sorry, for anyone here watching this in France. That is very typical French hypocrisy. You pull out the country, you say it's not a colony anymore, but you print their banknotes and control their financial system. All right, well, but let's get back to Spain. They have this colony here. They call it Spain. The official language is Spain, and It's not in Spain. And when the troops march in and herd these young men up and possibly kill some of them, that's not going to be settler colonial violence, is it? That's going to be Spain defending its territory. The Spanish government is deploying extra troops and police officers to its North African enclave of Ceuta after thousands of people of the masculine persuasion swam and waded into the tiny territory from neighbouring Morocco. All right, there are some very interesting pictures of the place being invaded by all these, well, invaders. But this is because Spain is being beleaguered by Morocco. It's not because Spain has co-opted a chunk of Morocco and is calling it Spain. No, that's not what's actually happening, is it? All right. And then there is this. The London Borough of Hackney has voted to cut ties with the Israeli city of Haifa, with which it was twinned. This is Haifa. There's the Baha'i temple. I believe that Haifa has a 20% Muslim population. It's got a Baha'i population, a large one, because that is the centre of the Baha'i religion at the moment, and it's where they found refuge after being, threatened in Iran. So here we are back in Hackney, which doesn't look half so pretty as Haifa, does it? And this demonstration here, by the way, were the pro-Palestine demonstration in front of Hackney Town Hall. It seems that those people there are medical workers of some sort, which is somewhat disturbing, with their smoke flares and their flag waving. Frankly, given a choice between Haifa and Hackney, I think I'd take Haifa. But there you are. What do you think? Well, it was remarked by somebody that, first of all, Hackney Council said that Haifa had to explain itself or something, but the debate was going to be scheduled for October the 7th of this year. October the 7th. Some of you might understand the council also provoked anger by scheduling a public consultation on its proposal to end on October the 7th, the third anniversary of the Hamas attacks on Israel. So, at the same time as the good citizens of Hackney want to close down the debate over whether they should still be twinned with Haifa, let me remind you what Haifa looks like. This model of Middle Eastern coexistence with its Muslim, Christian, Jewish and Baha'i population, while they're busy doing that, it has been pointed out that the borough next door in Brent are considering twinning their town with the Arab town of Nablus, which is in, well, according to this, Palestine or the West Bank. Well, look at it. It is a bloody, ugly place. Mind you, Brent is no oil painting either. Although I have to remind you that Brent does have, I think that's the biggest Hindu temple in the British Isles. And as I understand it, all the carvings were done in India and then brought over and put into place. And such a temple would be completely impossible in a town like Nablus, because Nablus is, well, another shining example both of European hypocrisy and Arab bigotry. Let's get back to Nablus. Nablus was originally named Flavia Neapolis, and it was built as a new town by the Roman Emperor Vespasian, as a sort of retirement town for Roman soldiers and retired government officials and that sort of thing. It was built up. I have heard that it was built next to a Jewish town called, well, in English it's called Shechem, and in Hebrew it's called Shechem. And then when the Arabs came, they couldn't pronounce Neapolis, and so they mispronounced it as Nablus in the colonial way. Just like the British called Mumbai Bombay because of the problems of pronunciation between the Hindi M pronunciation and the British B pronunciation. So this is a typical colonialist project, Nablus. It was originally a Roman colonial project, Neapolis, which was meant to take the place of a local Hebrew town called Shechem. Right, well, just so you know, the point about Brent twinning with Nablus is that in Nablus, no Jews are allowed to live. It is a completely Juden Rhine city, and maybe that accounts for how ugly it is, because let's get back to Haifa. This is Haifa, which is a mostly Jewish town with full rights of religion for anyone who lives there. I think I've made my point. Anyway, yeah. And the European hypocrisy is shining out in every single one of those examples. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.